All right, let's dive into a framework that has been a total game changer for millions of people. Stephen Covey's masterpiece, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But first, let's kick things off with a question that gets right to the heart of this whole thing. Are you just busy, or are you actually effective? It's so easy to fill our days, to spin our wheels and feel productive. But being truly effective, that's about getting the results you really want. And that, my friends, is a whole different ballgame. Covey says that real, lasting success has to come from the inside out. See, for a long time, our culture has been obsessed with what he calls the personality ethic. The quick fixes, the charm, the public image, but that's all surface level. True effectiveness is built on the character ethic. We're talking about the deep stuff, like your integrity, your humility, your core values. That's a foundation that will not crack under pressure. So here's the roadmap for our journey today. We're going to start with the core idea, this principle-centered approach. Then we'll walk through the private and public victories, cover the crucial habit of renewal, and wrap up with how you can actually put this all into practice. Now, this whole journey is built around 3 stages of maturity. We all start out in dependence, right? Relying on others. The first set of habits gets us to independence. That's self-mastery. But here's the kicker. That's not the final goal. The ultimate goal is independence, where we can team up and achieve things together that we could never, ever do on our own. So let's start with that first major milestone, the private victory. These first 3 habits are all about you. It's about getting your own house in order, mastering yourself before you can even think about leading or collaborating effectively with anyone else. Habit number 1, be proactive. This is so fundamental. It's the idea that between what happens to you and how you respond to it, there's a little bit of space. And in that space lies your freedom and your power to choose. Just listen to the language. Reactive people blame everything and everyone else. Proactive people take ownership. They're not just characters in their story, they are the authors. And here's how you make proactivity practical. We all have this huge circle of concern, all the stuff we worry about but can't really control. The secret is to pour all your energy into your circle of influence, the things you can actually do something about. And you know what's cool? When you do that, you'll find that circle of influence actually starts to get bigger. Okay, so once you've taken responsibility for your life, you need to know where you're going. That's habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. The idea here is simple, but really profound. Everything gets created twice. Think about it. A house is designed with a blueprint, the mental creation, before anyone ever lays a single brick for the physical creation. Your life should be the same. You have to have a clear vision first. That power of mental creation, that's what's behind writing a personal mission statement. I want you to think of it like a personal constitution, a North Star for your life that's based on your deepest values. Once you have that, it becomes the benchmark you can measure everything else against. And this leads us right to habit 3, put first things first. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is the physical creation. Most of us spend our lives bouncing between Quadrant I, firefighting crises, and Quadrant 3, dealing with interruptions. But the real secret, the key to an effective life, is shifting your time and energy to Quadrant 2. That's the important but not urgent stuff, like planning, learning, and building relationships. That's where the magic happens. All right, so once we've achieved that self-mastery, we're ready to move from the private victory to the public victory. Habits 4, 5, and 6 are all about shifting our mindset from me to we, and achieving that incredible collaborative success. So habit 4 is to think win-win. This is a mindset that says life isn't a competition. There's plenty of success for everyone. But you can't have win-win without trust. And to explain this, Covey gives us this amazing metaphor of the emotional bank account. Every single interaction you have with someone is either a deposit that builds trust or withdrawal that wears it away. So how do you make deposits? Well, it's not rocket science. You do what you say you're going to do. You show kindness. You make a real effort to understand the other person. And this is a big one. When you mess up and make a withdrawal, which we all do, you apologize and you mean it. A high balance in those accounts makes your relationship strong enough to handle anything. And a win-win approach is only possible if you have an abundance mentality. See, someone with a scarcity mentality thinks life is a fixed pie. If you get a bigger slice, that means there's less for me. But the abundance mentality, that's the belief that we can just bake more pies. Someone else's success doesn't take away from yours at all. This leads perfectly into habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. And this tackles a huge communication problem. Most of us don't really listen. We listen while preparing our response in our head. Covey says we need to practice empathic listening, really trying to see the world from the other person's perspective. Only then can we truly connect. And that brings us to the creative magic of habit 6, synergize. Now, this isn't just a compromise where 1 plus 1 equals maybe 1.5. No, this is creative cooperation where 1 plus 1 can equal 3 or 10 or even 100. It's about working together to create a third option that's way better than what either of you could have come up with alone. And here's the secret to synergy. You have to truly value differences. When you see someone's different point of view not as a threat, but as a valuable piece of the puzzle, you open the door to brand new solutions. This is exactly where real innovation comes from. And finally, we get to the habit that makes all the other 6 possible. Habit 7 is to sharpen the saw. I mean, think about a woodcutter who's sawing for hours. His saw gets dull, but he says he's too busy sawing to stop and sharpen it. It sounds absurd, right? But we do that to ourselves all the time. Covey points out 4 key areas that need constant renewal. If you neglect any one of these, it affects all the others. You have to invest in your physical health, your mental sharpness, your social and emotional connections, and your spiritual core. This isn't a luxury. This is the absolute critical investment that powers everything else and keeps you growing. So, that's the whole framework. But knowing the path is different from walking the path, right? So how do we make all of this real in our daily lives? Look, don't try to tackle all 7 habits at once. That's a recipe for burnout. Just pick one, the one that really speaks to you right now, and start small with a change you know you can stick with. Maybe it's just planning your week with a focus on those important quadrant 2 activities. And most of all, be patient with yourself. This is about building character, and that's a marathon, not a sprint. And that leaves us with one final, very powerful question. Looking at these 7 habits again, which one is calling out to you? Which one, if you just practiced it consistently, would make the single biggest positive difference in your life right now? The choice, like he says, is all yours.